Hello, welcome back to the David Watson podcast. Tonight, I spoke with Nina and we got into one of my favourite subjects, all things energy. And I hope you enjoyed the episode as much as I did. Hello, welcome to the David Watson podcast. Even though I've already asked you, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. And I'm just noticing how blue my top is, which is because I've just realised I have a blue background opposite me now, which used to be covered, but I've changed it. It used to be like a vision board, and I've taken everything off it and changed it. So all this blue is reflecting on me that I haven't noticed before.
Well, my entire background is blue because we're in my room, my bedroom actually, which is my office, and everything is blue. The color of your top, believe it or not, my walls
Yeah.
are that color, so that's probably enhancing
So we
it also.
coordinated tonight, you see. Well,
We did. I have blue and gray everywhere,
we like that.
like blue, silver, and you look blue and silver, so we could have coordinated.
It's nice. We like coordination. It's that coming together of two energies.
Yes.
Which is a nice little segue. How would you describe what you do?
This is very interesting. It's not what I do, it's a gift. It just happens to me. I didn't know that I had any of these abilities. I had no idea what energy was. I had no idea that God existed. I had no idea love existed. And I'm 61 now. And when I was 53, I had an awakening. Basically, it started with a near-death experience, but I think it was more of me saying, okay, enough is enough. There has to be something better in this life than what I've been experiencing, better than feeling a victim, better than living and defining myself by being abused as a child, being abused as a wife, being neglected, and all this. And it's everybody else's fault. And it's like, then who loves me? And then it's better. Something is better than that. I am doing this all wrong. It was almost like I realized that the second I realized that it's not everybody else's fault, that I have the power, that created this change. And I started asking questions. And my first question was, God, how do I love myself 100%? If there's nobody out there who can love me, because I never felt like I fit in. I never felt like I belonged anywhere, which a lot of us feel that way. I never felt a part of something. I never felt important. I always felt like I needed someone to take care of me. And the second that changed, and I realized that I have the power, and I asked the question, God, how do I love myself 100%? That's when all the doors opened up. And I started getting downloads, literally like pouring into me. First, I started realizing that we are 100% energy. And the reason we are 100% energy is because this is holographic reality. But it took me a while to figure that out. But anyway, everything, our brain is an AI. Our emotions, our feelings, our thoughts. It's the energy we're creating every single second. And if you can get a grasp of it and change the way you want your life to be, it changes. It took me a while to figure out how to do this, but then I started asking God again, God, how do I do this? God, how do I do that? And all of a sudden I started seeing things because I wanted more and more. And I started seeing in binary, I started counting in binary numbers. I started seeing holographs. I started seeing energies, and I started seeing DNA. I started seeing this. And I was able to heal myself, my dogs. Then I started working on other people around me. I already had a business, a beauty. I was drawn to it, and I channeled the technology that replaces plastic surgery. Um, Everything that I've been doing, I've been creating through that gift that I got, and it's a gift that all of us have if we want to access it. If you're just not afraid of facing who you are, because I think the biggest fear that people have is fear of not being good enough, fear of not doing something. But it's also, I think it's imposed. This is not how we were created by God. It's been imposed, and it's all about to change. So I think you should ask me questions, and because I can talk forever.
Hey,
I get tons of
I'm one of
information
those
coming to
podcasts.
me.
I'm one of those podcast hosts that's more than happy to just listen.
Oh, I know. I see that.
But
So, what do you want to listen about?
well, so you said this happened to you when you were 53, and
Yeah.
you said it switched from a kind of you asked God effectively, and you just kind of got tired of the way life was, and that there had to be more to it.
I was fed up.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
is it one of those sort of situations where words can't really do the experience justice?
Exactly. I had things that just started happening to me as soon as I started asking questions. As soon as this came into me, this desire to know beyond my box. If we all imagine we're in a bubble, we're in a box, we're in a dream state, the second you ask to get out of it and you start asking questions, that's the second thing starts showing up. I think I have an advantage. I was born in Russia. I was born in my mother worked for KGB. I had a really tough childhood, and I grew up blaming my mother in my childhood for all my problems, which a lot of people do because we all blame our parents for everything. But the second I realized that that was the experience that gave me the strength to deal with things,
Yeah,
and I became grateful for it, this is when I start growing. So our entire life is a perception. You can perceive your life as bad and blame everyone else, but you can perceive your life as a lesson and learn from everything and become who you want to be. Just take what you have seen, take what you have gathered from it, and use it as a stepping stone. I don't know why this song just came to my head about Pink Floyd, another brick in the
yeah,
wall.
yeah.
I never
One of my
really
favourite songs.
understood it. I love that song.
Same here.
I always have. But what if that wall is a letter? It's not a wall. This song is a little bit tragic because it shows how we are being controlled, how we're building the wall, how people tell you you're crazy, how you know that album, the wall, the whole
Yeah,
album.
the
Oh my
Pink
God,
Floyd album. Yeah.
animation. It's so true.
Mm.
But it's a perception. It's a regular perception of a tragedy that happens to people in their head when they see everything as a brick in the wall, as being controlled, as being. We don't have to see it that way. We can just. It takes courage. It's not easy. It takes courage to say, okay, I'm going to pop this bubble and get the hell out of it. But we all can do that.
How would you?
It's
If I was to say to you, say I came to you for some coaching I want to, as much as it's on me, I'm the one that has to do the work. What is the work that you'd suggest I do to start opening up and becoming much more aware of the potential to have these gifts?
Well, number one is start asking God, how do I love myself 100%?
Okay.
Number two, imagine this. Each one of us has our own universe. You have your own universe. I have my own universe in this big universe. You are the most powerful person in your universe.
Yeah.
You have the power to change everything in your universe. The second you recognize it is the second you say, aha, I don't have to let this person tell me that I'm not good enough and listen to that because I'm more powerful than that. By the way, people only do this because they reflect onto us how they feel about themselves.
Yeah, definitely.
and we take it personally. And then, oh my God, you want me to get into this? Because I see all these algorithms that are flying around. It's, I don't know. Do you want me to go into that?
Yeah, of course. I'm here to listen to
Okay.
you. So you tell me what comes to
Okay.
you.
So, you know how people talk about Matrix,
Yes.
right? But nobody really knows what Matrix is. Everybody says Matrix, but what is Matrix? I've actually seen what it's made out of. It's very interesting. So there's us who come here as we come here to expand and grow, and our soul is a piece of God. So when you go through suffering and struggling, you expand and you grow, your soul expands and grows, therefore God expands and grows. But it all started with God is not a person, it's an energy. Anyway, our soul is a piece of God. So we come here to experience those who don't have a soul. So there is givers and there is takers, and it's needed to be. Without it, there would not be any growth. So the ones that we call the bad people, the ones who, I don't know, the wife beaters, the child abductors, the rapers, the animal abusers, without them, there wouldn't be growth, because this is all simulated to experience and to overcome. So interestingly enough, this whole thing is being controlled by what we call aliens. We have our good aliens on our sites, which is our guides and our watchers. And there is aliens who redirect from us through those who don't have souls. So a lot of people, let's say you run into somebody offers you a business deal, okay? This person is going to sound absolutely great, but the intent of this person is to make as much money as they can, regardless of your well-being. That's a taker. So the is actually being there's a trade-off. This person gets financially what they want, but these aliens or whatever you want to call them, through him, through that intent, start redirecting from you into them. And this is all being circulated through the matrix. So the whole idea is for the good side, God's side, to expand, and everybody on the other side to get souls and become good or cease to exist. This is what the prayer is about on earth as it is in heaven.
Yeah.
Which we're almost there, because the matrix is almost over, because we already won. The good side has already won. And I think part of my awakening happened because it had to happen at a certain time. If I woke up early, I think it would have been too much too soon. I literally woke up just as we were leaving the third dimension to start seeing these things. So that's basically what I see as matrix. So everything is up to the intent. So let's say if you go to a supermarket and you see a person looking at you, like just checking you out, and at that point there's a connection, there's a contact, there's always an energy exchange, because it depends on your programs and that person's programs. So this person, it can take energy from you and deposit negative energy into you, or vice versa. Or this person can like you and deposit positive energy into you and remove negative energy from you. Those are the givers. That's the difference. But anytime you make a contact with somebody, like you and I, we're having a contact right now.
Mm-hmm.
We have an even exchange. There's always an exchange of energy. But it happens even when you don't know it. Even when a person can just look at you and they can be a taker. And I really don't like the ones that are called draconians. They suck.
Yeah.
They literally do. They suck the blood out of you. They're vampires. Remember Count Dracula?
Yeah.
Vlad Dracula? Dracula Draconian, he was one of the worst draconians. He was real.
Yeah.
They vampires. There's so many different breeds and types of beings. It's really interesting.
Yeah, well, because I think, I mean, the actual history of Dracula, the actual person it's based on, is a fascinating history. And for anyone listening to this, you should go and check out the real history of the man, because you can imagine how if you learn the history of him, you can see how the mythology developed, because he did some strange things. He did, he really was quite. Hollywood had a good base to start with, or Bram Stoker did when he started talking about Vladimir the Impaler, wasn't it? Wasn't he the original?
Yeah, Vladimir the Impaler. He was real.
Yeah, and if you look into the actual history of him, you see how these stories developed and where they came from, and they're quite sort of similar to who he was. So it was just good. Do you remember when I emailed you? I mentioned from your bio that I was fascinated because there's times that I've kind of experienced, for want of a better term, and I don't think it's the best term, but it's the one most people will be familiar with. I can find myself in the flow, and then other times I can feel myself completely detached from something, and there's this kind of weird, if I'm in this space, things just it's not just that things happen. I'm not even thinking, do you know what I mean? That kind of weird concept of just allowing things. I have a state of contentment, I have a state of comfort in my mind, and things just happen. I'll always get random phone calls, random emails, random inquiries about something, even if it's just new clients, new podcast guests. It's this really weird thing, and when I find myself in that flow state, life just happens. It's like every door effortlessly opens before I even know there's a door there. I just seem to be always on the right path, and then
it's called gamma waves.
Geno waves.
Gamma
waves.
Gamma waves.
Yeah.
And you can activate them anytime you want. So gamma waves, we have brain cells in our heart.
Yeah.
As well as in the brain. When we listen to our brain, that's ego. When you listen to your heart, that's gamma.
Okay.
When you are listening to your heart brain waves, you are in the flow. When you listen to the brain, you shut off the flow.
That's something.
If you connect them.
Yeah, that's similar to something Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about, isn't it?
I think so. I'm not sure. I try not to listen to others because I want the most authentic information, because I channel everything, literally channel everything. But I did get the, Greg Braden.
Yep.
Greg Braden. A long time ago, when I was just starting waking up, it caught my eye. He was teaching this gamma wave activation. It's a 3-minute meditation. It's amazing. If you want, I can show it to you.
Yeah.
Because it puts you in that state any second you want. I know how to get there instantaneously if I need to. I figured out how to do it without doing the meditation. But basically, all you have to do is connect to your heart. But if you don't know how, and if you, let's say, if you're in a state of worry or panic, or you're worried, just stressing, how do you get there? It's not easy to stop that. So there is an activation you can do. You can actually put 2 hands like on your chest, like this. You close your eyes, you press in, and you breathe from this area on the count of 5 in, on the count of 5 out. Focus thoughts on appreciation or gratitude, and connect the tip of your tongue to the roof of your mouth. Actually, I added that one because I noticed it works much faster that way.
Okay.
And within the next 3 breaths, you are in the gamma. And that's the flow. Okay. So it's that flow that when you were talking about in the email, I'm like, I know exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah, no,
It's the gametes.
that does make sense to me. That does make sense to me, and because, like I said, when I notice it the most is when I seem to be switched out from it, and that probably is when I'm really in my head, constantly overthinking everything.
Yeah, well, by the way, that's part of Matrix. We have so many programs running. At one point, I actually asked God to remove the thinking processes from me. So I don't think. I don't like thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm extremely intelligent and I get these amazing ideas and I create these amazing things and I don't think. Because channeling is so much better than thinking. When we think, we literally, you never know where your brain is going to go. Our brain creates fear. Heart creates love. So when you stay in your heart and you channel through it, you're going to get the right information, because when you want to be connected to God and get the right information, you need to channel through love. When you start feeling fear, worry, or whatever state that we get into, which is a human state of third dimension, which we are not in anymore, we block ourselves. And we can block ourselves anytime by fear. So fear and love, they cannot live together. If you notice, when you feel love, you can't feel fear. When you feel fear, you cannot feel love.
Yeah, and
But
also,
love overruns fear.
well, I was going to say as well that there's another thing about fear and love. People who feel love never feel alone. People who are in fear always feel isolated, regardless of how many people are around them.
Mm-hmm. Trust me, I work with women. I'm in the beauty business. I see women come to me all the time, and they think that if I fix their wrinkles and if I fix their appearance, they're going to be happy. And I literally sit down and I tell them, it has to come from inside. I cannot make you happy. You're the only one who can make you happy. Have you heard of EFT? Emotional freedom technique? Yep. The tapping,
I know the one.
That one, the tapping. I found it works amazing. And one of the things that really works, if you go, I don't know if you know the point. So you got a point here, here, clavicle, chest, and ribs. And if you do this, I deeply love and respect myself. I deeply love and respect myself. That channels that in, and then it changes you from inside out. So when people come in and they're in that state of fear, I teach them how to do that. Yeah. EFT. I love it. It opened up so much understanding in me. Think about it. Your nervous system is like a circuit board. And all these things are programs, and you literally removing these programs from the circuit board and putting new ones in.
So just to repeat, what's the mantra that you use when you're doing EFT?
So it's like this.
Is it I
when you want to remove something,
love and respect myself?
Yeah. So when you want to remove something, you go like this. Let's say I want to remove. So I'm feeling sad and lonely today. Okay. So I will do this. Even though I feel sad and lonely, I deeply love and respect myself. Even though I feel sad and lonely, I deeply love and respect myself. And then I go, I feel sad and lonely. I feel sad and lonely. I feel sad and lonely. And I go through all the points 2 times. This is to remove something. To tap something in, you would do the opposite. You don't do this. You just go like this. I deeply love and respect myself. I deeply love and respect myself. I deeply love and respect myself. Or I love myself 100%. I love myself 100%. Or I feel powerful today. Or I'm going to have the most amazing day today. Whatever you want it to be, you can go through these points and tap it in. And whatever you want to remove, you can do this. Even though, blah, 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 I deeply love and respect myself. And then you tap out the negative.
Yeah. Because, I mean, the EFT has been around for a while, hasn't it? It's quite a few years.
A long time.
Yeah.
It blew my mind when I first learned about it. I don't remember the name of a woman. She was on Mind Valley. It was one of the first, I've never heard of mind balance. It
Yeah,
was one
yeah.
of the first online things that I found when I first started learning. Couldn't get enough energy. I want to know more. I want to know who knows what. And when I ran into her, it just blew my mind that all my fears and worries, I could just go on. But then it's made me start asking questions. Wait, why do I need to go all this, do all this? Like, can I just delete it? So I went a little further. But for normal people, it's amazing.
Well, I think it's probably a good stepping stone because you can feel the physical releases, and that
Yeah.
hopefully will start a curiosity where you start, okay, let's try and breathe in through the heart and expand through that.
You know, everybody has fear of losing money, poverty consciousness, right? Like wealth, abundance, and poverty are big things for everybody. It's been created like this for a reason. So I had really bad poverty consciousness, and we all born taught that we need to work hard to make money, and that money doesn't come easy to you, and the money doesn't grow in trees, and that our parents, so we're from that generation. So when she was teaching how to tap out, um, even though I think money is hard to come by, I deeply love and respect myself. Or even though I have to work hard for my money, I deeply love and respect myself. Once I tapped it out, and all of a sudden the money started coming, I was like, wait a minute, I really like that one.
Yeah.
Because I created a whole business based on my thoughts. I mean, this is I haven't taken one business loan out. And I've been in business 10 years now, and I'm doing pretty well. I developed my own technology. All by doing that.
One of the things.
And not listening to people. This is funny. I don't like listening to people. I'm really bad. I listen to intuition only.
Well, that was something I was going to ask you. I've got a couple of questions. One of them is, and the reason I like to ask this question is many years ago I wrote a book on reincarnation, and I talk about, or I have spoken about, when I wrote that book, it felt like I was channeling, and the only way I can describe it is. And the only reason I'm able to describe this because I once asked about it while I was writing, so I kind of felt that flow state, and I can only describe it as there was, I think it was like 13 energies, sort of around like a portal, as if talking into a well, and that well was connected to the top of me like by a golden line. That's the only way I could see it as an image, but I understand the image isn't that accurate, but it's the only way that I could understand it. And what I describe is that many parts of the book that I wrote was just this, whatever it was, telling me what to write, but it wasn't a voice, and it wasn't a feeling.
It was a knowing.
Yeah, and I can't articulate what that knowing is. Only just that it was always instant before I even thought about it.
That's it. That's channeling.
Yeah.
It's not a believing. It's not thinking. It's a knowing. It's like I know things that I have no way of knowing how I know them, but I know them. I even tried to do some experiments with that. I wanted to make a Vietnamese dish. I wanted to know if I can know how to make a Vietnamese dish, and I started asking. And guess what? I made the best Vietnamese. What was it? Bok choy with mushrooms and garlic and ginger sauce.
Nice.
I channeled the whole recipe, just step by step.
So, because that was going to be the thing that I asked you is what is it like for you when it's happening? And do you know if you're with somebody, do you give readings when you're with people sometimes?
Yeah, I try. I don't pry in, but when somebody asks me something, like I ask people to ask me, don't ask me a general question. Don't ask me what do you see, because it's too general. I see a lot of things. They'll be like impossible to describe what I see. I think I'm becoming like that because I understand this is how I speak to my guides. I have to be very specific in what I ask. If you want to know something, ask me, and I can also fix it. So we have things that happen to us, a lot of stuff from past lives. Those of us who are old souls, old consciousness. So we have two things: we have a soul and we have a consciousness. A consciousness gets reincarnated 8.4 million times. I'm on my 8.4 million incarnation. I'm done. I'm retiring. But
Does it come with a pension?
anyway, oh God, I think we're gonna have a great pension for this one. But anyway, we are the end result of all of our lives and experiences without even realizing it. So the experiences that you have in this life is nothing comparing to experiences we've had in our previous lives, but we don't remember them. But our emotions and our triggers, most of them are based in the past life. So this is very interesting when the past lives comes in. Once there's past life healing, also I remove past lives. I remove past life events. I have people that have pain in their shoulder, pain in the back, pain in the jaw because they got shot, they got stabbed. I had a woman whose leg was taken out, torn off by a dinosaur. Her leg was always hurting. I removed the original event, the leg stopped hurting. But I see those things. It's annoying, but I can also see it in pictures. I get that too. I see, I hear,
Yeah.
all of it. But it's unbelievable what past lives, even people you're with, your worst enemy from your past life could be your mother, your sister, your brother, your wife.
I remember reading somewhere that the only people that can truly hurt you are soulmates, because they're the only ones that would come back to and agree to do it. And I don't know why that resonated with me so strongly, but it's just like if somebody has hurt you like really badly, only a soulmate would agree to do that, and that soulmates are not always positive.
Soulmate. It's funny you said I had a soulmate who hurt me really bad. He died. It was the worst, and I realized that I was 32 and he was 39, and we were so close. I would think, and he would finish my sentence. We slept together, we ate together, we worked together. All of a sudden, he was like ripped out of my life. And I went crazy for 5 years. It was, I guess, another experience I needed to learn. But I wouldn't got where I got if that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So it's 100% correct. And interesting thing, what you just said was pretty amazing because it's something that I needed to hear.
Okay.
I just believe it or not, I just ran into him. He's being reincarnated. He lives, I don't know, I hope he doesn't see this podcast, but he lives in New Zealand. And I got an email with somebody trying to introduce themselves to advertise for my company. And the energy from that email just jumped at me. And when I feel that, I always go for it. And when I clicked on the video, I'm like, I know this person. Who is this person? So scheduled a call with him. And about an hour before a call, my heart was palpitating. I was like, what is going on? When I saw him, we start talking, oh my God, this is my husband who died. So I go, how old are you? He goes, I'm 24. Well, my husband died in 1995.
Yeah.
5 years after that, in 2020, I stopped feeling him. It's like he was always around and then he disappeared. And I knew that this is when I could almost move on. I couldn't move on for as long as I could feel him. It was like I was stuck for 5 years and I didn't even know what I was feeling, but this is when I couldn't feel him anymore. Then I met the husband. I went, no, he's 24 years old and it's him. I don't have a doubt it's him. I don't think I'm going to tell him that. I don't want to scare him to death, but this just happened on Friday.
That's good.
And when you just said that,
Yeah.
it was just very interesting that you said that because it's true. And I have such an incredible sense of relief that he's on this earth. It's like my life got filled up again. It was a very interesting feeling.
It is, because if people, I have mixed feelings on it because of where it's left me over the years. Because there's sometimes, yeah, there's been a couple of occasions where I've met people, and you just kind of know. Again, I can't explain it, but there's a connection that's so instant. You can't possibly have not so. It's either. I even have trouble articulating.
It's a trust.
But it's almost like, I was about to say, like two drops of the same rain. Suddenly, like,
I like that. Yeah.
It's just like it's like you've always known each other, but you just met, but in that moment of meeting, that you can almost skip 6 months of conversation because everything that matters you already know about the other person.
You know what happens to me, like when him and I start talking, we talked for 2 hours. I didn't know the time went by.
Yeah.
The time stops. Everything stops. The only thing that exists is that moment in the conversation right now. And that's the flow. And we have that ability to give it to each other. When we connect on a soul level, that's a soul connection. And that's also because we know each other from past lives. We know each other from our origin, because we all come here from different places.
Yeah.
Those of us who come here from the same origin, we got this connection. Like, I'm from Andromeda. I have a pretty good feeling you're from Andromeda, because you and I, we got a connection.
Yeah. You and I are just talking. You know, and it just happened.
We're
instantly
connected, you know? So when you feel that, this is usually because we're from the same origin and we've had similar experiences in the past, and we're doing exactly what we're supposed to be doing at that moment.
Well, here's something then that might interest you to know. I hadn't written this in my diary. So even though you and I had all this back and forth, it wasn't written in my diary. And I just happened to look down at my phone and it said I had my podcast with Nina today. Like literally 25 minutes before we were due to start.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So I always get a notification about 30 minutes before the actual day. But I just literally was, it's in all the time I've been doing podcasts. It's the only time I haven't written one in the diary. And you're the only person I've ever done on a Sunday, recorded on a Sunday. Because I normally record on Wednesdays and Fridays, and sometimes Saturdays. But you know, because of your work commitments, you weren't able to do that. And so I said, okay, I'll do a Sunday, and I never wrote it in my diary. And weirdly, I wouldn't normally be where I was on a Sunday.
Well, I sort of forgot that I had a podcast with you today, and I had it in my diary. And I'm not used to doing things on Sunday. And my friend, she had a surgery, and I told her I was going to come over at 2:30, and I hung up the phone with her, and I'm like, wait, no, you have a podcast with Dick in my head. Yeah. You have a podcast with David. It's almost the same. I look at my phone, sure enough. So I told her I'll come over after the podcast. Strange, I had the same thing.
Yeah. And I like that. I like that sort of that's happened.
Some things, they have to happen for a specific reason. Like right now, I've affected your journey and you affected mine. And these effects, they have to happen. Sometimes they're so irrelevant or negative for you that it's so easy to blow it off. It disappears. But some are very important, and this is how, when you feel it in your heart, like this, that's the one that could be life-changing.
It is.
Soul growing, life changing.
I think one of the things, and I think that's what happens when I find that flow state, when I find myself in that flow state. I stop questioning my future and will it work out, won't it work out, how will it work out? And it's not that I have any more answers, it's just the answers become irrelevant.
They're not supposed to, I'm sorry, I have to say this, they're not supposed to be relevant. That's where the faith comes in.
Yeah, but it's only when I'm in that flow that I'm okay with it.
I'm going to tell you something. I just got a message that I should say that because I usually don't talk about it, but I guess this is fine. So I had a vision. I kept asking and asking and asking about the holographic state. I want an explanation. I want to be able to understand it. I couldn't understand. What do you mean I'm not here? Like, how is this a virtual reality? I want to understand this. And I had a vision. It was completely unexpected. But I saw myself, and I knew it was me because it was a silhouette. And I was laying onto this bed that was made out of the whole bed was like a clear jelly. It was like squishy, clear jelly thing. Like you would think it's like it's blown up by some, but it's not because it's squishy and jelly-like. And as I laid down in it, the whole bed lit up. Mm-hmm. And everything inside the bed was liquid plasma. And it was starting base color was cream, and then you could see there was green, brown, blue, pink, purple, and magenta. And they were twirling and swirling all the colors. And in that moment, I understood that whatever's happening in that bed is happening to me here in this reality. This is where I actually am. And this is my holographic state in this reality. And this is where I learned to remove the programs, the algorithms, and then the holographic grids from the bed. And the stuff starts disappearing here. And then I can also download in DNA into whatever, because everything that we are is literally in that bed. And they won't let me see more than that.
Yeah.
But all I know is that our power is over here and here, because here is where the main connection is to love. And that overrides all the negative programs in that bed. Bottom line. So when you worry about your future, and when you worry about things not working out, and when you worry about this, it's just programs. It's just programs that are running in your bed. Delete them.
Yeah.
They're useless. They're obstacles to keep you from who you truly are.
So, when somebody comes to see you for your services, what is it that you do for them?
So I have two businesses. One is I have a spa. So apparently you're not asking about that one. You're asking about the energy work.
Yeah, you can tell me about the spa as well. But I imagine even with the spa, there's a lot of energy involved, even if the clients aren't aware of it.
Oh, yeah. This is literally hilarious because I have people who never heard about it. And I try to explain to them that a lot of times when I work on somebody, and let's say I'm doing it's called non-surgical facelift. So I lift all this, I remove, we have subcutaneous fat that causes the skin drooping. And I try to explain this to people. But then there's also energies. So we hold so much energies that are being actually imposed in us through emotions, through alien contacts, through DNA, through whatever. And the older we get, the more kind of falls down because life becomes heavier as we get older. Shows in the face. There's a lot of energy over here. And in the stomach, because I work on stomachs, whatever. So for me to get rid of something faster, even though I can delete it and break off the particles energetically, it takes time for it to get out. So I burp things out. They have a secondary thing where I can just burp anything out. Yep. And it disappears instantly. So here's me trying to explain to these people that I have this gift from God where while I'm working on them, I'm going to burp because I'm going to remove stuff from them. That's, people never heard about energy. They don't even know what a medical intuitive is. And I'm trying to explain to them. And you know what they tell me? Oh, please do whatever you have to do. And
Yeah.
it's so interesting that I run into things about their husbands, about their children, about whatever. Sometimes the mother shows up, sometimes the grandmother shows up, and they tell me to give them messages. And my entire thing turns into a very interesting energy session together with the beauty session. It's never just one.
No.
But I also have a separate business from that where I work people over the phone when they're not in front of me.
Okay.
And it's, I see when somebody's not in front of me, I don't get distracted by their physical appearance. And I can just see everything. Like it's pretty crazy.
I'm very curious about that now. I'll talk to you about it when we stop recording.
Okay.
I'll turn my camera off. So when somebody comes to see you, what is it you do? What is it you do for them? In like you remove blockages, or you feel you use a DNA download to heal them? How does it work?
Whatever they need. There's no limit.
Yeah.
I see myself as unlimited.
Mm-hmm.
My one of my business is called Energy Work Unlimited because there's no limits. If we're in holographic reality, there's no limits to what you can do. I have not been able to walk through a wall yet. I'm still trying. Well, I haven't tried physically yet. After your mind has to be in the right spot. But I was asking questions. I was asking questions about Jesus Christ. How could he heal someone? What was the method? What did he do? What was he thinking? What is he feeling? When he could put his hand on somebody and made a blind person see, or when he could walk on water. I want to know. So the answers I got were very interesting. So he knew he was in holographic reality. He was not a program, but just a being like that in the bed, completely aware that he was in the bed, and you could see the holograms, the holographs. So when I'm in your reality right now, and you're in my reality, we're experiencing the same holographic reality.
Yeah.
In my reality, he had an ability to so completely see you clearly in a perfect state that he could change you because he could see the holographs. I can't do that yet. I really want to get to the point to be able to change the holographs just with I can break the particles, and I have to count like I said, in binary numbers, I count the programs and remove the programs and download other. It's a longer process of that. I haven't got the shortcut yet, but I keep asking, how do I get to the shortcut? I'm learning. When it came to walking on water, at that time, there was no computers, and there was no, like right now, I can say, okay, we're in holographic reality, and everybody knows what holograph is. I say computer, I say, image, everybody knows what it is. At that time, nobody knew that. So he was actually trying to explain to people that in his mind, if he wants the water to be solid and walk on it, he can do it. He didn't do it to impress somebody. He was doing it to show people how easy it is to change your reality, your physical reality. So if you want something in life, if you want fish, you can have fish. If you want, you can change your reality to want it to be because it's holographic. But it got, of course, turned around and explained completely different. Like, oh, Jesus Christ, he could walk on water. But guess what? We all can.
There's a book. I'm just going to look it up so I don't get the wrong name. It was by Richard Bach, and I'm sure it's called Illusions of a Young Messiah. And the reason I'm mentioning it, apart from being one of my favourite books...
Oh, I have to read that one.
It's called Illusions. And it's by Richard Bach, and it's the adventures of a reluctant Messiah. And it's about... He effectively meets a reincarnation of Jesus Christ. And he's just like, well, why don't you do these miracles? Why don't you do this? And I'm paraphrasing probably quite badly. And he says that effectively every time, when everybody knew him as Jesus, he said it didn't matter what he said. They would just like cure the blind person, walk on water. He said I was just a show. I was just an entertainment show. Nobody actually wanted to listen to the fact that I'm telling you how to do this. And he said, and then one day, I sort of like said to God, like, why do I have to keep reincarnating and doing this? And he said, and God just said, I don't know. Why do you keep reincarnating and doing it? Why don't you just do something else when you reincarnate? And he goes, so we stopped trying to be a Messiah.
I like that.
Yeah. And I've read that book about 20 times. And I lent it to somebody, and I never got it back. Because it's quite a small book. It's the sort of thing you could read in an afternoon. And but yeah, it's just phenomenal, the insights into how he talks a lot about, similar to what you're saying, in the fact of like, actually, do you know what I mean? This is in your mind, and if you think about it correctly and just accept it as what it is, things will happen for you. And but so that's it's also got one of my favorite quotes. I'll just, please excuse me while I just double check what the quote actually is. It was written in the 70s, 1977s, I think. He also did Jonathan Livingston's Seagull, which is another great book, because it talks about the levels of transformation, and the main character is a seagull, but ultimately becomes energy. Quote, this is my favorite quote. Here is a test to find whether your mission on Earth is finished. If you're alive, it isn't.
Oh yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah, well that's a Richard Bach quote from Illusions of a Reluctant Messiah.
Richard Bach. I'm definitely I've got to check
I'll
this guy
email
out.
it to you. I'll email it to you when we're finished.
I would love to talk to him. That would be an interesting conversation.
Yeah. And his books were absolutely transforming for me. Jason Livingstone's Seagull and Illusions of a Reluctant Messiah were big game changers into how I viewed the world spiritually. I probably should read them again, because it's that sort of thing where you can read it again and again, and it brings new insights to you.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, because your perception keeps changing the more you grow.
Definitely.
You see things differently. You translate it differently.
Did you have any sort of spiritual interest before the awakening when you were 53?
No, none.
Okay.
Well, I knew I was protected because according to my guides, I died 16 times.
Okay.
I had a crazy. Well, anyway, my mother trafficked me. She raised me to be a prostitute. She worked with KGB. My whole entire childhood was KGB training. I didn't understand what love was. I don't understand maternal connection at all. I was an asset. And when we went, I had a grandfather who actually spent 20 years in concentration camp. And understanding this now, he survived by having this connection. So when I was a kid, he's the only one that I knew loved me. I could feel it. And he told me, when your mother wants you to do something, do the opposite. Since I was a kid, he was teaching me that. So he basically saved my life. So when we came to America, my mother wanted me to work for KGB as a prostitute. I ran away. So I didn't know how to speak English. I had no coping skills. I knew nothing. And so I went to work for an escort service. And from then I got married, and I ended up having 6 husbands, and I had one died. I was abused, and I had crazy things. She hired a guy, a total freaking psycho, to kill me, blow up my car, and I was taken out of time. Like I should have been dead. Like I went through 4 lanes after there was a plastic explosive in my front steering tire, and I was in the left lane going 85 miles an hour in the rush hour traffic, and it blew up through the car to the right through the traffic, and the car ended up being stuck between two trees. I didn't have a bruise and no seatbelt, nothing. The car was trashed. I didn't have a scratch. And I had 3 strokes when I was 30, and I should have been dead. And instead, it felt like I would wake up on Saturday, but I thought it was next Tuesday, and everything happened in that time. I already knew. It was like constant deja vu. I had really weird experiences, but I never put two and two together. I wasn't supposed to wake up, I guess. I don't know why I got awakened. I know I got awakened for a reason at a certain time. I think I know what the reason is, because I got awakened right before we started moving into fifth dimension,
Yeah.
or got into fifth dimension. I think maybe if I woke up earlier, the abilities that I have would have shown themselves, and somebody would try to stop me. I don't know. But there had to be a reason why I literally was kept in the dark all this time, but extremely protected. I've done drugs, I drank. I don't know what I haven't done. And look at me, I'm 61 years old. I'm healthier than most 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
And this is absolutely like I'm just not a physical, I'm energetic, physical, whatever miracle, just by any standards. So there is a reason for that.
After you had your awakening when you were 53, did at any point as you were going along feel like there was the spiritual awareness, the spiritual awakening? Did it ever feel like you would step backwards at all? Or did it always feel like you always felt like you were going forward?
I had to fight for it. When I woke up, I was in third dimension, and when I started waking up, I asked God to remove from me everything that wasn't from God, and it probably would have happened anyway. I was literally sick for almost 3 years, first 3 years. I had energies coming out of me. I had demons coming out of me. I could see them with the drugs that I've done, and with, the life that I've had and my past lives, and I could see them. And I had constant attacks, and I learned how to see the colors. At one point, I didn't eat for 3 months. I couldn't even eat. And I'm not kidding. I had a message that vodka would help me. Talking about being Russian and drinking vodka.
It's my favorite drink.
Vodka apparently moves energy, and it slowed down through this purging process. I felt like I was a volcano. I had all these energy just blowing out of me, and I definitely died a few times during that time. And I remember through this whole thing just knowing, I knew it. It was a knowing in my head. No matter how sick I felt, no matter how bad it was, I knew that when I'm going to come out of it, I'm going to be unstoppable. I just knew it. It was a knowing.
Yeah.
I didn't have a doubt.
Just because I'm conscious of time, because believe it or not, we've already spoken for an hour.
I know. I was looking, yeah.
Do you have a website?
Yes. 2. Energy Work Unlimited.
Yep.
.com and advancedrapidhealing.com.
Energy Work. I'll make sure they are in the description. What was the second one?
Advanced Rapid Healing. And there's another one that's for my spa. It's actually Anti-Aging Center of Boca. This is where I make people look absolutely beautiful without surgery.
Okay. Now, my last question, which is a complete shift in energy, because it will be the most random question you've ever heard or been asked. I guarantee it. So, this actually might be really fun, because you might answer it differently than anybody else. So, I want you to imagine you have a time machine, You can go to any place in history, anytime, any place, any when. Where would you go? Why would you go there? What car would you drive? And what music would you listen to?
No, that's a weird question because I've gone to, I've been in Egypt. Well, in the past, I go in my head.
Mm-hmm.
So I would not go into the past. Oh no, I would. I know exactly where I would go. I would go to Samaria because there was a woman there who was actually, I don't want to say the name or anything, that has affected my life in this life. And I would undo everything she did. Oh no, then it could be like a butterfly effect and I wouldn't turn out to be the way I did.
Yeah.
But it would be nice to delete all the crap that she did. I don't know.
Do you have a dream
If
car?
I were to go in the, if I were to go in the future,
Mm-hmm.
I would jump straight into actually 2 years from now, 2026. I can't wait. Well, to the December 21st of 2025 is where the matrix gets turned off. We're actually in the process right now that matrix is being turned off little by little. You can't turn it off all at once because it'll crash things. So it's going to be completely turned off. And 2026, we're going to start as it's in this prayer on earth as it is in heaven. It's starting in 2026. I would jump straight to 2026 and I'll be driving Tesla. I love Tesla. I love electrical cars. Or maybe electrical BMW. By then they'll have a flying car. You never know. But I really cannot wait for that moment where I don't see, where I don't have to on daily basis protect myself from all these things and from constant attacks and deal with these energies and aliens. And there's just so much stuff that's going on right now that I deal with on a daily basis. It became like I don't have a choice. It's like this is part of my purpose. Because, you know, the aliens from the other side, I end up connecting them. I don't know if you want to put this on the podcast, but I get attacked on a daily basis, God knows how many times. And this is how I know. It's in my programs. And this is how I know to give them souls, because I connect them with souls, and then they tell me more things, and it's constant. It just gotten a little better. Where the attacks this is how I know the matrix is getting better and better. So I would jump where these attacks don't exist.
We like that.
Where I could just live my life and go dance every day. I love dancing.
What would you be dancing to?
Oh, disco.
Nice.
Latin hustle. I love Latin hustle. I'm an 80s girl. I lived in a disco every day.
We like that.
I had, you know what exosomes are?
Do I know what?
Exosomes.
No.
Okay, so you know what stem cells are, right?
Yep.
Okay, so stem cells, the active molecule in stem cell is called exosome. And it's legal in America. You can actually inject them into the bloodstream. And it repairs your DNA. It can take you when you're 60 and give you energy and youthfulness of a 20-year-old. So in my spot, I partnered up with a guy who has a direct relationship with a lab to get these exosomes. And of course, I had a whole bunch of them done because exosome is a God molecule. So I can dance 5 hours straight without getting tired.
That's good.
It's amazing.
Yeah. No, that is. And
I know you're looking at the time, so
no,
we're running over. We're probably running over time.
That's cool. That's okay. But yeah, no, that is a fantastic place to stop. Thank you very much for your time. And that was Nina and myself. And we did actually carry on talking for about another 45 minutes and had some great meditations. And do check out her website. Find out more for yourself. try the breathing exercise and breathing in through your heart and breathing out, and see what it does. Focus on that love for yourself, that affection for yourself. All of these things are and can be incredibly beneficial and important to our well-being. And the books that I mentioned by Richard Bach was the what was it? The Illusions of a Reluctant Messiah, and Jonathan Livingstone Seagull even. And anyway, I'm rambling now, so I'll let you all go. And as always, thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for the subscriptions, for tuning in, sharing, and the audience. To all of you, I really do appreciate the support. Thank you very much. Wherever you are from, whatever you believe, as always, please do take care and be blessed. Thank you.